We're outside Tynwald offices and an event called Tea at Tynwald. Only in the Isle of Man, I don't know. It's slightly different. As you can see behind us, we're being set up with cakes and refreshments and, of course, a cup of tea. Christina, as always, you are very involved in this whole procedure about acting against poverty.
Yeah, absolutely. As Global Poverty Ambassador on the Isle of Man, I want to obviously present the issues related to extreme poverty, celebrate how much we've achieved internationally already in ending extreme poverty, and making people aware of what more we can do to see it end.
But every time we have to ask these same questions, and I know you're going to be ready with the answers. People these days are finding it hard just to get by on what their jobs might be under threat. They've had no income increases, and yet you're asking for more money to be given to third world countries.
Yes, it is. I can understand it is a tricky issue, but we are talking about 0.1% of our gross national income, which leaves 99.9% to spend at home. And the reason we see this as so important is, yes, not only do I see it as a moral responsibility, as in we live in, very privileged to live in a society where we have infrastructure in place and we have our basic needs, we have clean water, we have food and we have access to food. When we're talking about extreme poverty, it's people who do not have access to these basic necessities. But also, I think as an island and as a nation, we need to be seen to be playing an part internationally, and seeing ourselves as being responsible internationally.
But shouldn't people just give if they want to give, and maybe hopefully goes to the right places? Because you always hear these stories, don't you? Especially certain newspapers seem to make a thing of it, that government's given money somewhere and yet it's gone to the wrong people.
Yes, I mean, unfortunately we do hear bad stories, but there are also great stories of where good aid has been spent and has brought about long-term and sustainable results. I mean, polio, for example, has nearly been eradicated. There's only 3 countries where it remains to be endemic, and this is something that has been done through good aid. The Isle of Man government has match funded what the Douglas Rotary have raised on the island in order to support the End of Polio campaign, and the overseas aid budget and the committee who oversee that do a fantastic job at ensuring that the projects that we support do bring about these long-term and sustainable results, and therefore we believe that government aid is one of the best ways to tackle the issue of extreme poverty.
So to move it up these little minute digits we're talking about, how much money are we going to be seeing that you want from the Isle of Man government each year?
Okay, currently we're giving the equivalent of, on average, £28 per person per year at the moment in overseas aid. And that equates to £2.4 million per year. And that's effectively spent by the overseas aid budget. To go to 0.1% is the equivalent of roughly £1 million. And we believe that that would be a smart investment for the island, because we would see long-term communities that currently are dependent becoming independent and sustainable, and therefore in the long term we would not need to give aid.
Do you find you got support in Tynwald? Because I've just met a couple just now, they won't say it on the record, but they're going, because they want to see money spent here.
Yeah, I think it is a mixed response from government, but there are supporters, and hopefully some of the ministers are going to be here today to support us. It is a tricky issue, I understand that, but I do think our leaders sometimes need to take a lead and see what is the best thing for our nation long term, and we can see it as part of a long-term economic strategy for the island and its development, I believe.